Hare His Grace Yugal Kishore Prabhu and Her Grace Kishore Mataji. Welcome both of you. Thank you so much for coming here. We are honored to have your association once again. And Prabhuji and Mataji, they have been in Dubai for last 2 decades and they have been successfully running their ventures there. And they are ardently preaching the Krishna conscious message to the sheikhs over there and to the Lebanese community in Dubai. A big Haribol. And they are well known for their vibrant kirtan, and we had a first-hand experience just now, so no need to say anything further on this part. And they are also the owners of a wonderful Sattvic chain of restaurants, Limit Street. I think most of us are aware of that. So without further ado, I would like to invite His Grace Kishore Prabhu to please come and start the session today.
Yes, thank you. Hey ho, Prabhu. Where is the boss? Achyut Arjun Sakha.
He's on a yatra program.
Oh, okay. Okay. We'll do some Jai Radha Madhava, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Some Kartal is there. Hare Krishna. Jai Siya Ram. This one is better? Let's try. Ooh, that's an overload. Hare Krishna to all, Jai Shri Ram to all. Let's sing Jai Radha Madhava and then try to speak a little bit on Lord Ramchandra today. We've all heard the Ram Kathas over and over again, because fortunately for all of us from India, the culture of Ram is very deep rooted. So even if we don't want to listen about Lord Ram, we still get to hear about him. So today, therefore, most of us know the story of Ram and his travels, but today we will try to understand and analyze the qualities of Lord Ram and how we have to follow in his footsteps. That's the humble attempt that I thought we will make to all of you today, to imbibe the qualities of Ram and for the Matajis to be in the footsteps of Sita Mata. Yeah. Okay, so we'll start with the Jai Radha Madhava. Jai Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Chandra Vallabha, Jaya Girivaradhari, Jaya Girivaradari, Jaya Gopichandavardhana, Jaya Girivaradari, Jaya Girivaradari, Jaya Yashodanandana, Jaya Brajanarandana, Jaya Yashodanandana, Jaya Brajanarandana, Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Jaya Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Shama Sundar Radha, Shama Sundar Radha, 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 Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha, Madan Mohan Radha, Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha, Madan Mohan Radha, Jaya Radha Govinda Radha, Govinda Radha, Jaya Radha Govinda Radha, Govinda Radha, Jaya Radha Govinda Radha, Govinda Radha, Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Gopinath Radha, Gopinath Radha, Jaya Radha Gopinath Radha, Gopinath Radha, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जाए, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जाए, गंधर्व गिरिधारी की जाए, लॉर्ड रामचंद्र जी की जाए. As I was walking in, I was really appreciative of the efforts of this yatra to celebrate the re-entry of Lord Ramchandra in Ayodhya. It's really a wonderful thing to do, and we should not be speaking about politicians, but we should thank our dear Prime Minister and Yogi Adityanath for their untiring efforts to make this program one of the grandest events in the world. And look at the austerity that Modi ji has undertaken. He is fasting for 11 full days with only coconut water, and that also the coconut water he has only 2 times a day. And he is visiting so many places of importance where Lord Ramchandra has done his pastimes, and he just considers that he needs purification to be eligible for the Pran Pratishtha ceremony. So it's really something phenomenal that is happening in India, and we should all be thankful to the government of India for all their efforts. It will not be an exaggeration to say that India is currently being ruled by a person with the qualities of a Raja Rishi. So, as I said before, that we have all heard Ram Katha right from our childhood, especially the older ones like us. We would just be asked to go to hear Ram Katha. So I remember going to a village in India which is my older folks they lived in that village in Kerala, there used to be two temples on either side of the village. And it was a custom that every day morning you should have a bath in the local pond there, offer your obeisances to Lord Shiva on one side before you set out for the work. And there is an automatic audit that takes place. If anybody has not come for the bath and paying their obeisances to Lord Shiva, then immediately the people are asking, what happened to this person? Is he not well? You know. So to avoid embarrassment, everybody would be present at Lord Shiva's temple before they set out for their daily work. And then again in the culture, by the time we come back from Lord Shiva temple, the Purohit from the Lord Krishna temple is distributing prasadam to every householder there. And then everybody sets off for their work after having Krishna prasadam. And then when we come back, in the evening, there used to be Ram Kirtan and Krishna Kirtan at the local Krishna temple. And it is an unwritten rule that it was mandatory for everyone to attend these two functions. What a beautiful culture which we have lost because of city life. But we have not lost it all. Thanks to the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, who has made the Krishna Kirtan part of every householder in the entire world. And many people are taking advantage of it. And it is recorded that ISKCON has got 10 million followers all over the world. It is still a small number, but we are getting there. Yeah. So, while discussing today's Ram Katha, probably I should take up one verse which is coming in the end of the 10th chapter of the 9th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which summarizes the qualities of Lord Ram in one verse. And then we'll try to get into details of the qualities of Ram and how we should imbibe those qualities and how we should apply the principles by which Lord Ram led his life when he came down to the earth planet. So this is the second last verse of the 9th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 10th chapter. So this is verse number 54. We shall read the verse with one repetition, and we shall read the translation with one repetition, and then we will read from Srila Prabhupada's transcendental purports, and then we go on to the discussion of the day. Is that all right? Okay. So verse number 54, Eka Patni Vritha Dharo Rajar Shri Charita Suchihi Swadharmam Grihamediyam Shikshayan Swayam Acharat. Lord Ramchandra took a vow to accept only one wife and have no connection with any other woman. He was a saintly king, and everything in his character was good, untinged by qualities like anger. He taught good behavior for everyone, especially for householders, in terms of Varnashram Dharma. He taught the general public by his personal activities. Purport by his divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Eka Patni Vrita, accepting only one wife, was a glorious example set by Lord Ramachandra. One should not accept more than one wife. In those days, of course, people did marry more than one wife. But Lord Ramchandra, as an ideal king, accepted only one wife, Mother Sita. When Mother Sita was kidnapped by Ravana and the Rakshasas, Lord Ramchandra, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, could have married hundreds and thousands of Sitas. But to teach how faithful he was to his wife, he fought with Ravana and finally killed him. The Lord punished Ravana and rescued his wife to instruct men to have only one wife. Lord Ramchandra accepted only one wife and manifested sublime character, thus setting an example for householders like all of us. A householder should live according to the ideal of Lord Ramchandra, who showed how to be a perfect person. Being a householder or living with a wife and children is never condemned, provided one lives according to the regulative principles of Varnashram Dharma. Those who live in accordance with these principles, whether as householders, brahmacharis or vanaprasthas, are all equally important. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We'll also read the translation to the next verse, which describes the qualities of Mother Sita. Mother Sita was very submissive, faithful, shy and chaste, always understanding the attitude of her husband. Thus, by her character and her love and service, she completely attracted the mind of the Lord. So these were the summary of the characters of Lord Ramchandra and the most transcendently beautiful Mother Sita. So there is one reason, the moment we even mention Lord's name, Lord Ram's name specifically, there is an automatic calming effect on the brain. Is it right? Weren't we so ecstatic when we said Jai Shri Ram to each other? Yeah? So the reason for that is Lord Ram is the ocean of pleasure. And the soul always seeks pleasure in relation to the Supreme. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yatho bhaktir adok saje ahaituki apratiyata ya yatma suprasidati. The soul is always seeking pleasure. And that pleasure is attained only when we do ahaituki apratiyata bhakti to the supremely transcendental person. So, these two verses which we learned about the characteristics of Lord Ram and Sita reminds us of a verse from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, sloka number 21, which is Yad yad acharati shreshtas tat tat evetaro jana sayat pramanam kurte lokas tat anuvartate. We all know the meaning of this verse. Whatever action a great man performs, Shrestha is the top leader in society. So he is certainly supposed to be a great man. So whatever actions he performs, the common men follow. And whatever standards he sets by his exemplary acts, all the world pursues. So if you really see the way Lord Ramchandra led his life on the earth planet, Lord Ram lived this principle of the Bhagavad Gita when he appeared in the material world to show his mercy on all of us. And we all know that Lord Ramchandra appeared due to the prayers of demigods. He was very merciful and he came with all his expansions, the primary expansions of Lakshmana, Bharata and Shatrughna. These were actually non-different from Lord Ramchandra, but the expansions of Lord Ram. He wanted to expand the principle by which we have to lead our life in devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we all know that they were the four sons of Dasharatha, and all are Vishnu Tattva and not Jiva Tattva. Hence they are equally powerful. They might have manifested certain percentage of their power that they are able to exercise because of the avatar that they have taken. But all are equally powerful. And they all appeared in four expansions to again preach the same principle which we discussed now, which is Yad Yad Acharati Shreshtas Tat Tat Evetaro Jana Sayat Pramanam Kurute Lokas Tat Anuvartate. And the important warning that is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam is that we must listen to the pastimes of Lord Ramchandra only from Tattvadarshis. What does the Bhagavad Gita 4th chapter 34th sloka say? Tat vidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadyakshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Only the self-realized soul who has seen the truth is qualified to speak about the transcendental nature of Lord Ramchandra or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tat vidhi pranipatena. You have to approach a spiritual master who is a self-realized soul and inquire submissively. Pariprasnena sevaya. Now, how is the submissive nature surely going to come out if you follow this principle? Pariprasnena sevaya. Ask questions and serve the spiritual master. Service automatically makes you humble, isn't it? So many times I have seen devotees, because of the service, they do not have time to meet their spiritual master and get his personal association. But by divine arrangement, the spiritual master meets the devotee by accident. It's not an accident, but by divine arrangement because of his service to the spiritual master and service to the devotees of the Lord. They meet each other and they have a very transcendental discussion. And they say, where have you been? I said, no, I am doing cooking Seva Maharaj, Guru Maharaj. So they somehow get the association of their spiritual master and able to associate with their spiritual master through service to the Lord and service to devotees. So it is considered and acknowledged in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness and by Srila Prabhupada that Valmiki is a Tattvadarshi. So therefore when we discuss Ramayana, we discuss Valmiki Ramayana. So the first learning that we get to hear, Ekapatni Vrata, we have already seen. Lord Ramchandra happens to be the ideal son. Just to keep the promise that he gave, just to keep the father's promise intact, he gave up the kingship, went to the forest with Sita, Lakshmana, Hanuman and Sugriva. He left his kingdom, he left all the opulences, he left his friends and well-wishers, he left his residence. He was the emperor going to be the emperor of the world, and he left everything. And just like a liberated soul, left the kingdom to honor the promise given by his son, by his father, Dasharatha. Dasharatha, we all know, had 3 wives, and because Kaikeyi was very good in serving the Lord, and he wanted to give her some benediction. Kaikeyi was very intelligent, very scheming in her ways, and Kaikeyi said, I will ask you the benediction when I feel it necessary. And asked for this benediction when Lord Ramchandra was about to be crowned, because she wanted her son Bharata to become the emperor of the country. So, in spite of all that, as an obedient son, he just honored the promise made by his father. So, Lord Ramchandra here, the quality which we have to recognize is that he was an ideal son. So, Lord Ramchandra could not tolerate one quality in all of us, and that is the lusty desires that we have. And what is the example of that? He cut off the nose and ears of Ravana's sister Surpanaka, right? Deformed her completely because she had lusty desires for him. And that is a severe punishment for lust. Again, from the Bhagavad Gita, what is the sloka which we can get reminded of? The second chapter, sloka number 62 and sloka number 63. What is that? Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa Sangaste Shupajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama Kamat Krodho Vijayate. Yeah? Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa, when we are contemplating on the object of the senses. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa Sangaste Shupajayate. We develop attachment. Yeah? And then what is the result of attachment? Sangat Sanjayate Kama. Lusty desires come within us to acquire the object which we have developed attachment for. And then lusty desires leads to krodha. Yeah? We have unlimited lusty desires, but we cannot satisfy all those lusty desires. Yeah? So therefore, when you do not control your lusty desires, it leads to anger of not acquiring what you want. And then krodhat bhavati sammoha. Result of krodha is complete confusion. Moha is illusion, confusion. But sammoha is complete confusion. Sammoha smriti vibramaha. You lose your brains completely. Yes, Smriti Bramshar Buddhi Nasho. Buddhi Nashar Pranashyati. The complete mind and thinking power, everything is destroyed, and we are completely back to the material pool again and again. So there's one thing which Lord Ramchandra came to teach us, is to keep our lusty desires well under control. So that is the second learning. And the third learning is, when the sacrifice of Vishwamitra was taking place, there were a lot of demons around. The yajna was actually protected by Lord Ramchandra killing many demons. Whenever a yajna is performed, the demons are very, very angry. They try to create a lot of disturbances. They go on their airplanes and throw their feces and all the dirty stuff into the yajna kunda, where the yajna kunda will be, the yajna will be completely destroyed, and you have to start the yajna all over again. So when Vishwamitra was performing the sacrifices, Lord Ramchandra made sure that all the demons are finished off to protect the process of yajna. Yeah? So that is a very, very important thing. And who is the object of doing the yajna? Yajna arthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. So yajna has to be performed for the satisfaction of Vishnu or the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. Then, while he did all these things like a human being, what did he do? He also wanted to exhibit his supernatural powers. You know, people who are demonly in character, they only take these simple things and they come to the conclusion and preach to all the people that Lord Ramchandra was just like a human being. Maybe he had some little extraordinary powers. Yeah? But is it simple, extraordinary powers? When Mother Sita had to choose her husband, he broke the bow. And that bow and he broke the bow, and this bow was carried by 300 people, and they were finding it very difficult to carry this bow, and Lord Ramchandra broke it as though it was just a sugarcane stick. I think many of us even will find it difficult to break a sugarcane stick. So he also wanted to show his supernatural powers for the pleasure of his devotees. The 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, what is the name of the chapter? The most confidential knowledge. Or in Sanskrit, what do we say? No. Yeah, no, that's the beginning of the chapter. The chapter is called, what's that in Sanskrit? Huh? Yeah, so it's the most confidential knowledge. Once it talks about Ananya Bhakti. Okay. So it's a chapter on Ananya Bhakti, which is the conclusion of all our spiritual activities, and it's the perfection of all our spiritual activities. Once Ananya Bhakti is discussed, nothing more need to be discussed, right? So the Bhagavad Gita could have very well ended in the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. But then he continued. In the 10th chapter, it discusses the opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why did he discuss the opulences? Arjuna was already convinced about it. To increase the pleasure of Arjuna and all the other devotees, he gave details of the opulences, the unlimited opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Though Lord Ramchandra was surrounded by devotees all across Ayodhya, he sometimes wanted to exhibit his supernatural powers for the pleasure of his devotees. And then, of course, we know how Lord Ramchandra got distracted and Sita Devi was kidnapped, and he got attracted to a deer, and in following the deer, Sita Devi was left unattended, and when he was distracted like this, Sita Devi was kidnapped. And again, Ram was completely in distress due to the separation from his wife, and of course the spiritual understanding is that Lord was in spiritual bliss. But the lesson for all of us here is that we should be keep on check the material affection that we have for our spouses, for our children, for our parents, for our relatives, etc. So that's the lesson that we have to learn from this. We all know that the form of Sita, who went with Lord Ravana, was an illusory representation called Maya Sita. And that confirmation came when Maya Sita was burned. From the other side, the original Mother Sita came out. And when Sita was being kidnapped, look at the mercy of Lord Ramchandra for his devotees. When Mother Sita was being kidnapped, Jatayu tried. The Jatayu is a large bird and devotee of Lord Ram, tried his level best to protect the kidnapping, but he could not. But he had life enough to explain to Lord Ramchandra and Lakshmana that she has been kidnapped by Ravana and they have gone in this direction. And after that, after fulfilling the duty to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Jatayu left his body. And look at the mercy. Just like a normal human being, the last, and he always gives preferential treatment to all his devotees, he became a son of a bird. Why? Because he did the funeral rites of Jatayu himself. So what a situation to be in, The Lord coming to do your last rites. Who could be more fortunate than Jatayu? So there again we see the very merciful nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ramchandra. His superhuman powers are completely inconceivable. Normal intelligence one can never understand. First, he fasted for 3 days, requesting the ocean to cooperate and help his monkey soldiers and himself to cross over the ocean. But after that, he became furious when the ocean was not willing to, kind of surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead straight away. And then we saw how the ocean, the crocodiles and the fish in the ocean were so agitated and disturbed by the anger of Lord Ramchandra that the ocean had to manifest himself in front of Lord Ram and then submit to the Supreme Lord, saying that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What have you got to say? And you just cross the ocean whichever way you like. There will be no obstruction. But still, to increase your fame, I request you to put floats, stones, and build a bridge to go to Lanka. So that was the request of the ocean. This will increase your fame. And what stones were there? They were mountain peaks. And they were mountain peaks carrying the barks of trees. And then they are very heavy. They are rocks, hard rocks. But still a great floating bridge was prepared for the easy journey and without any obstruction to travel to Lanka to attack the Ravana, who is the greatest of all demons. And then, this may be a super pastime for most people, but as devotees, getting instructions from Srila Prabhupada, we understand how many great planets float weightlessly in space, like swabs of cotton. Yeah, just like cotton being put in the water, so many planets are floating in the space by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they all arrived there. Ravana saw a lot of disturbance, and sensing more disturbance, he called all his Rakshasas, including his son Indrajit, equipped with mighty weapons to fight this battle, right? And none of the monkeys had any kind of weapons with them to fight. What did they fight on then? Only Lord Ram and Lakshmana, by virtue of taking on the role of Kshatriyas, they had some weapons. None of the monkey friends had any kind of weapons with them. They only used no weapons, but only used barks of trees which they pulled out, mountain peaks or rocks were pulled out, and they started fighting the powerful enemy. What does this give us a lesson? We all depend on material nature. Daiva Shakti is greater than Purushakara Shakti. Daiva Shakti is the power of transcendence, over Purushakara Shakti, which is the strength from our own intelligence and power that we possess by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here, the only thing that they depended on, the monkey soldiers, they fought the enemy with the best of their ability, but they depended on the Supreme Personality of Godhead for victory or otherwise, right? So that is the lesson that we get from the consciousness that we have while fighting any of our material difficulties. 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, sloka number 7. What does it say? Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha mai arpita mano buddhir mame vaishyasi asamshayaha. So what is the consciousness that we have? Is Krishna telling Arjuna, give up all these activities, what you are doing, go to the forest, live a life of a beggar? That was in fact what Arjuna wanted to do. But Krishna said, you must fight. But what kind of fight? Fight with a changed consciousness. What is that consciousness? Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu, at all times, mam anusmara yudhyacha. This is the principle that we have to take home today. Mam anusmara yudhyacha. Think of me and fight. Arjuna fought the battle of Mahabharat. On the other side, we have Duryodhana fighting the battle of Mahabharat. But both the activities are same. But what is the difference? The change of consciousness of Arjuna. Think of me and fight. So that is the principle which all the monkeys also followed. They said that Lord Ram is there to protect us. We'll do our best. And even if we die, we are dying for Lord Ram. What's the problem? Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha. This is the principle of life which we should all follow. Right? And then, what is the difference between the Suras and the Asuras or the Rakshasas? The Rakshasas do not know the power of transcendence. So the more we recognize the power of transcendence, the more successful we are in life. When we say success in life, we mean spiritual success. So what is the real religion? People have so many definitions of religion. Follow the order of the Supreme Personality of God. That is simply religion. You are religious if you follow the orders of the Lord. Then we all know that Lord Ramchandra was able to finish off Ravana. When Ravana was killed, and along with Ravana there were dead bodies of so many other Rakshasas there. Mandodari, who is the wife of Ravana, came out with all the wives of the Rakshasas, and they were grieving, crying, piteously crying actually, because they have lost their husband, who is the only, only source of protection for them, as they thought. But there was one beautiful quality of Mandodari, which is, she was a very, very chaste woman. By power of her chastity, in spite of the grief of losing her husband, she knows that her husband was leading a very, very sinful life, and the very word Ravana means causing crying for others. So Mandodari, by virtue of the power of chastity, just like we saw Sita, who is the epitome of chastity, Draupadi, who is the epitome of chastity, they were able to know the real reason why Ravana was killed by Lord Ramchandra. She accepted that her husband was a very, very sinful person, and she wanted the Lord to be merciful to him, because she knows that her husband Ravana is defined to be a ghost and then be confined to the hellish planets. So look at the Lord again showing mercy on Ravana even after Ravana was completely killed. He requested Vibhishana, the pious brother of Ravana, and of course a devotee of the Supreme Lord, to do the final ceremonies for his brother Ravana, so that he can be saved from the path of hellish planets. This is the mercy of the Lord. The Lord is equal to all. It's just that he is a little extra equal to the devotees. Otherwise, for the Lord, all are his children, and he takes care of all his children equally. But here we see that even though Ravana spent all his life, with thoughts of killing Lord Ramchandra, he was merciful to him also. And then he takes his wife and rescues her from beneath a simsapa tree. in the forest where all Ashoka trees were there. That's where Sita Devi was lodged. Then he authorized Vibhishana to rule the Rakshasas for the next one kalpa. And then he left back to Ayodhya with Sita, Hanuman, Lakshman and Sugriva. How did he go? In, what is that Viman we heard of? Pushpak Viman, but he was called, a news reader was calling it by another name today. Morning we heard that. Anand Narsimhan was explaining what sort of Pushpak Viman it is. Anyway, it's a plane which makes no noise because it's not run by motors and it is run by the mind. Yeah, by the power of the mind. So you just have to think, if you are the pilot, doors open, the doors open, yeah? And then you get in and then you give the directions to the plane and it starts flapping its wings and makes no noise, takes you to the next destination, and there's no need of air conditioning in that plane. You have already perfumed breeze blowing, yeah? So, which is exactly the right temperature. So, as you are traveling by the Pushpak Viman, you have this wonderful, Pushpak Vimana to take you without any noise. You don't have to close your ears with cotton when you are traveling by Pushpak Viman. So much of inconvenience in the material world, isn't it? But still we become so proud. Yes, I travel 20 days a month. I go here, there. Oh my God, how much suffering you are having. Look at what your life will be if you go to the spiritual planet and travel with Lord Ramchandra in his Pushpak Viman, doing service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then what was Bharata's condition in Ayodhya? This is a display of very fine etiquettes followed by the four brothers. Actually, Bharata was so grieved by the fact that Lord Ramchandra was not there with him. He was supposed to rule the country, but he took the life of austerity. He was eating barley, oats or whatever you call it, with urine. He was cooking, cow's urine of course. He was cooking and eating that in the absence of Lord Ramchandra. He had matted locks of hair on himself and he was lying on the mattress of Kusa. Yeah, he was not sleeping on his kingly bed. He was grieving so much that he was sleeping on a mattress of Kusa. Oh, that's what our Prime Minister is doing now, last 11 days. I just can't get reminded of him. Stop getting reminded of him. He is sleeping on the floor besides fasting with only coconut water. Look at the austerity. When Prabhu called me and said, how long I should speak, he said 90 minutes. Then he reduced the time. Prabhu, we'll be doing Nagar Sankirtan. So please make it 45 minutes. I do not know the time right now, but I am going on speaking. Hopefully to finish in the next 10 minutes. Yeah. So I should tell 10 minutes, otherwise people will start sleeping. Oh, 10 minutes mein khatam ho jayega. Fir prasadam ka sakta hai. So that was Bharata's condition in the absence of Lord Ram. What does it give to us as a lesson? The fine etiquettes that Bharata did, and at the same time it is convincing us with a life of austerity and living like a mendicant, who was actually ruling Ayodhya. It was Lord Ramchandra ruling Ayodhya still with his remote control, right? Otherwise, with such austerities, you're not in a position to rule the country and be a Kshatriya. Yeah? Then when Lord Ram came, huge hugs between the brothers, and then what did Lord Ramchandra do? He paid his obeisances to all the Brahmanas and the elderly in Ayodhya. And he paid his obeisances to all the three mothers, including Kaikeyi. So that is a show of fine etiquettes by Lord Ramchandra in demonstration. Then the family priest arrives, Vashishta, and then Lord Ramchandra is clean shaven, yeah, because he also had matted hair all across his face. He was clean shaven and given a bath. But that's bath for the materialists. But they actually did Abhisheka for the Supreme Lord to kind of make him worthy of his coronation ceremony. So Lord Ramchandra's rule, and he established Varnashram Dharma again and again. So Lord Ramchandra's rule in Treta Yuga was so pure that it was life like in Satya Yuga. The purity and the life was so good like it was in Satya Yuga because of the greatness of the ruler who was none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are in Kali Yuga now, but if we apply this principle of living peacefully in the Varnashram Dharma as defined by the Lord Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha, yeah? It is based on gunas and karmas that the four varnas are being observed, and it is a Maya Srishtam, it is a system created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead for orderly division of labor and specialization. Yeah, so all the four sections of the society, the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras are very much essential. Just imagine if 2 days the BBMP people do not collect the garbage, the whole city will be stinking. So everybody has to play their role for a peaceful functioning of society. If that is done, and done as a service for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then even in Kali Yuga, we can experience the joy of being in Satya Yuga. What does the Bhagavatam say? Kaler doshanide rajan asti hi eko mahan guna kirtana deva krishnasya mukta sangha param rajet. So in the age of Kali, we all have to just understand that there is only one eko mahan guna. And what is that? Kirtana deva krishnasya. Do the kirtans of the holy names of Lord Krishna and Lord Ram, and mukta sangha param rajet. You can be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. And while in the material world, you can experience the joys of being in Satya Yuga. Okay? So the other great qualities of Ram and the etiquettes that he showed is his deep respect for Brahmanas. The moment he took over the kingdom, he was overwhelmed by the service of the Brahmanas, and all the four directions of the kingdom, he donated it to different Brahmanas. The Brahmanas were completely overwhelmed, and they said, "No, Lord, all we require is your association. None of these material things ever attract us." And they requested, pleaded the Lord to take over the kingdom, and we saw how Lord Ramchandra then decided to rule the kingdom. And then, of course, the unfortunate incident, actually there is nothing unfortunate when we are discussing the pastimes of the Lord. Lord Ramchandra set up a very high standard, and then everybody in the kingdom was unhappy and happy with the rule of Lord Ram, but he was disguised as a normal human, and when he was going in the night, he just heard a comment from a husband to a wife saying that you have been unfaithful to me and you have not been a chaste wife, and therefore don't think that I am a henpecked person like Lord Ram. I will not keep you anymore. Just because somebody said this, he actually banished Sita from the kingdom, and again there was a separation between Lord and his dearest energy, Sita Devi, the mother of fortune. So he abandoned his pregnant wife and sent her to Valmiki's ashram, where Lava and Kusha were born. So again, very, very high standards of morality that Lord Ramchandra always followed. And what is the lesson for us? In the material world, affection can be the cause of fear and bondage. What does the Bhagavad Gita 5th chapter tell us? Ehi samparshajai bhoga dukkha yonaya evate adi antavanta kaunteya nate ram nateshu ramate buddha. Yeah? So any kind of material affection that we have, what happens to it? It is the cause of dukkha. Yeah? Ehi samparshaja bhoga. The moment we think of bhoga or material enjoyment, it is the beginning of dukkha yonaya evate. And any enjoyment that you may find also, it is adi antavanta kaunteya. There is a beginning and there is an end to that. Yeah? But we are looking for eternality at spirit souls. Na teshu ramate buddha. The intelligent, buddhivan spiritualists do not look for such small pleasures. Then Lord Ram ascended to his abode after his pastimes were over, and the devotees who were there on the material planet, what is the role that Lord Ramchandra played? He had trained them sufficiently in his Prakata Leela in the material world and trained them to come back to Sanatan Dham and serve the Lord. Yeah. So this is some of the learnings that we can have from the beautiful pastimes of Lord Ramchandra. So on this occasion, it's a great effort by the members of the congregation here to kind of celebrate what is going to happen in India and Ayodhya tomorrow and show solidarity with the wonderful happenings in Ayodhya which is taking shape there. And on this occasion, let us all pray for the mercy of Lord Ramchandra, that he may bless us with a small portion of the qualities that he had. And Mother Sita, that we always have the chastity and the purity of Mother Sita, so that we can follow the path of Krishna consciousness nicely. And in this lifetime itself, let's pray that let's aspire to take the Pushpak Vimana once this lifetime is over. And devotees are never afraid of death. We all know how Dhruva Maharaj conducted himself when death was approaching. When death was approaching, he said, "Come fast, I want to die now." Yeah, death was approaching. And then when death came in front of him, what did Dhruva Maharaj do? He said, "Bend yourself now," and use death as a ladder to get to Pushpak Viman, where he made sure that both the mothers were there along with him, and then he goes back to the spiritual kingdom. So death is no doubt the most fearful thing in the material world, but if we are Krishna consciousness, then there is no fear of death. So Jai Shri Ram, and let's pray for the mercy of Lord Ramchandra today, that he blesses us to get out of this material world and serve him in his wonderful Dham in Ayodhya. It will be fun there. Amalatma Prabhu, what do you say? It will be real fun. You will be with Krishna in Goloka and serving him. Suddenly you will get a call. Amalatma Prabhu, what is this? Why are you here? You are supposed to give class in Ayodhya Dham today on Srimad Bhagavatam. And the Pushpak Viman is waiting for you. Don't delay. Please go, give class and come back to Golok Dham. And that's how life is going to be for all of us. Just by practicing the simple method of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yes, when I was here, I was telling some of the Matajis that you are doing such a glorious job. The next year, if we have a similar celebration, then we should clean the roads get elephants to perfume the streets. That's how it was being done every day in Ayodhya Dham. Yeah, there were the best of marbles being used. Then Vaidurya stones and other precious stones were being used to decorate the whole place. The arches which were built where Lord Ramchandra is going to enter, those arches had slabs of gold in them. The seating places were decorated with the most best of stones. The marbles that we get today, nothing, when compared to the kind of marbles that were being used then. But while we may have practical difficulties in doing all these things, let us meditate how Ayodhya looked like, and that in itself is like bringing Ayodhya Dham right in the center of Kannamangala. Hare Krishna.
Hare